Ladies and gentlemen, it finishes West Ham United 2, Sevilla 0. That means West Ham United 2, Sevilla 1 on aggregate. West Ham United are through to the quarterfinals of the Europa League. Andre Yarmolenko scoring the goal to do it. Hi, how are you? I hope you're well. I hope you're good. I know you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, Gio and Gonzo, they've got so attractive. I know, it's because they are at the game currently. So you are unfortunately stuck with the B team as per usual. But hey, that's what happens when we do the videos, we win. Tom, hey man, how are you? How's things? What you been up to recently? What you been up to today? Anything exciting?
I've been stuck in my lounge, that's for a start. For those of you who weren't there, I was supposed to be on at half-time with Charlie, and I managed to actually get stuck in the lounge. A fire brigade had to come out midway through the second half to let us out. But just probably the greatest night in the modern history of this football club. I'm lost for words. That was... I can't even put into words. Like I felt emotional at full time. I'm not going to cry, but that's what it means. And for Yarmolenko to do it as well, unbelievable. Just incredible.
Mad. Insane. I mean, obviously, like we'll get onto it. We'll get onto the Yarmolenko goal and everything else. But I was saying I did the build-up show with Irish Tommy, and we were talking about the bench specifically. And usually, when you look at the bench, you see, you know, Vlasic, Noble, Yarmolenko, you're like, there's not enough there. But obviously after Yarmolenko had just scored against Villa, it felt different a little bit. It was like, you could come on and actually do something here. To grab the winner. I mean, it's kind of mad. We're going to break it down. We'll go through it a little bit. I want everyone else in the chat, of course, to get your opinions in. Let's all go ham together right now because Jesus Christ, West Ham are through to the quarterfinals of the Europa League. But we'll go through the game as one usually would in the review setting. We'll go through it.
Okay, I may have to skip the first 15 minutes of the second half because I had a burly man in my front row. So
that's fine. Don't worry. We don't need the details. 39 minutes. Mikel Antonio looks like he runs it the wrong way. He has control of the ball. It comes in for him. He looks like he moves in an odd direction, and he somehow, and I don't know how to this moment, he pings in an incredible ball into the head of Thomas Soucek, potato salad himself, who bandaged it into the net with reckless abandon, and West Ham go 1-0 up,
Tom. Sorry, my voice. I have been shouting at the telly. I will say before we speak about the goal and stuff, Yarmolenko, Antonio, unbelievable shift tonight. 17 minutes of just terrorizing the defense. Yep. May not have got his goal, but he did everything else absolutely just 110% perfectly, and he was fantastic all night long. I don't think European defenders, Premier League defenders, they're used to having that sort of player guy. I don't think they've ever seen someone like Antonio, or at least they don't play him against him regularly. But just looped in what seemed like a hopeful cross. You know, maybe it was a moment of genius. He knew that he was coming in at the back post, but just nodded it perfectly. Keeper was going the wrong way, and just, you know, it was a perfect header. Just angled it back across and bandaged it into the goal. I thought leading up to that goal, the first 20 minutes, James Gunn, the first 20 minutes, it was good. We were sort of sustaining pressure. We were having a lot of possession, but it just wasn't being done quick enough. And then they started to grow into the game. So to get that goal at half time, I think must have just knocked Sevilla's confidence a little bit. Because when they came out in the second half, again, we looked for what I saw from when I kept looking over at the TV and not the fireman coming through my window, that we were on top at that point. So it must have knocked their confidence. I thought they probably thought they could just pass it around the back the entire time and get away with, you know, just almost doing what Atleti did the other day against Manchester United. You know, they would just slow the game down, pass it around the back. But thankfully, we didn't allow them at times. We kept on at them, making them punt the balls long. And it just, it was brilliant. It was at the perfect time because it completely changed probably what Lopetegui's halftime talk was in their dressing room. And it was a good chance for us to reset ourselves going into that second half and say, right, look, we're in the tie now. Now we can kick on. And for the last, I wouldn't say half an hour, I know we'll get to it, but half an hour and extra time, we absolutely dominated them. We dominated them off the park. But that was such a crucial goal at a pivotal time just before half time.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think we talk about scripts in football and everything else, and I remember we've had conversations about how, for example, the last game at Upton Park, it was almost like it was written. The fact that Soucek scored a goal as well today, someone who has been this season, someone who there's been a lot of conversation about, how's his performance been, how's he played, this, that, and the other. There's been a lot of conversations about Thomas Soucek, as there have been Yarmolenko, to get a goal like that. And it was kind of the perfect thing. We've seen recently more and more often him getting in around the box again. For a long time, he hasn't been doing that enough. He hasn't been getting in those spaces enough. And today, again, we saw it once more, as we have the last couple of weeks, of him getting into those positions. And when you have someone in those positions like that, just put it in the box. Just put it into the area where sort of vaguely where they are. I'm not even certain, if we're being honest, that Mikel Antonio knew where he was. I don't care, but I'm not even certain he knew where he was
at that point.
He just dinks it, and if you just dink it, let's be real, there are very few people who are going to beat Thomas Soucek in the air. He puts it into the perfect position, and Soucek, like you say, just cushions it, bandages it back towards the other side of the goal, wrong foots the goalkeeper, and
do you know what?
The perfect time to level it up going into half time.
I think what a lot of people won't speak about in this, and I know we're trying to sort of break down and actually analyze what happened when all of us are just
trying is the key phrase.
Trying is the right phrase. But I think it's not spoken about enough of the fact that Diego Carlos wasn't also playing tonight, because Koundé and Goodell, somebody who doesn't naturally play as a centre half, they are two very small defenders that they have in there. Even Navas on the other side and Acuna, if he played, or Augusto, they're not a big back four unit. So it's almost like every time that ball was put into the box, and it was not at a corner and we were, going against the entire team, but almost if you were able to sort of loop or get across in to stand up at the back post, we were going to win, those duels 9 times out of 10. We dominated them in the air in the box. And like you said, it's what a leap in this, from Soucek to get his head in it and just guided it perfectly with the bandage as well. What has just happened?
I know. Madman, thank you very much for the 179. Rebecca, thank you very much for the 179. James, thank you very much for the 179. Dabs, thank you very much for the 179. Arthur, thank you very much for the 5. Get 1 minute. Thank you very much for the £5 for the bell fund. Always necessary. Always necessary. And going into half time, I mean, I had this wave of optimism before the game. If everyone saw the build-up show, me and Irish Tommy were talking about it, it was like this sort of vibe that actually I felt like something could happen here. We could do this, right? And I don't know if it was maybe, I think before a game I was maybe speaking more with my heart than I was my head. I was like, we've got this, we can do this. And part of that, I think, was the win against Manchester City in the Cup. It was like, oh my God, we can definitely go ahead and do this. But by half time, going in 1-1, level on aggregate, I honestly felt like we could go on and do it. You were meant to come on at half time, but your door decided to screw you over. What were apart from, oh crap, we're locked in the living room, what were your thoughts at half time going into it? What was your stance on the West Ham?
I'll tell you, hang on, I'll tell you what my half time thoughts was. Wait there.
I mean, it's very fair. Very fair. Thank you, everyone, for watching, by the way. Good to see you. I hope you're well. Subscribe, everyone. Like the video. All that good stuff.
This was my halftime thought. This. Apparently, the fireman said that this shouldn't be here and it should be in here. And yeah, that was my halftime thoughts. So really, it was a case of, do I ring 999 or do I just try and shout somebody to come and unlock it from the other side? And no, it was. I think it's the same feeling as you. I thought, until we actually sort of got that goal, like I said, the first 20 minutes were good, but for me, it wasn't done at a quick enough pace. And we just needed to up the tempo a little bit because it was almost playing into their hands because they like to slow it down. Yeah. They don't win a lot of games away from home. They don't win when they win by big scorelines. So he's a very defensive-minded manager. So it was perfect for the pace that they were at. But like I said, I think that completely threw their game plan off because I think, as somebody said it earlier on in the chat, they came there they were quite happy to walk away with that at a 0-0. Did not bother them in the slightest. And I think when we got that goal, brought the crowd back into it up into the second half to carry it through, but also at the same time, just through probably, like I said, Lopetegui's game plan completely out the window, and they were out muscled, outran, out everything for the rest of the second half and in extra time. Like I said, I was shocked as to how much we actually dominated them. That is a top European side, and we bopped them off the park realistically in the last 60 minutes of the game, including extra time. It was unbelievable performance, unbelievable. But in the first half, I must say before it, that Areola save as well, how vital that save was to keep us in it. Literally going, all his body weight was shifting back to the complete wrong side to get across to strong hand to get that away from danger, and that was a really good effort from En-Nesyri as well. Who, by the way, I know he looks like he can't hit a barn door with a banjo, but he actually looked quite decent, sort of big lanky striker, but. Incredible save
as well, and taller.
Yeah,
just a big bloke, big burly,
just a big boy.
Big boy.
But what a save from Areola, because that save ended up being crucial, kept us in it. Because if they'd have scored just before we went up the other end and scored, would have completely changed the tie. One of the saves of the season for me, and you know why we're looking to sign Sam Johnston when you've got that potentially as your future number one is beyond me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. First of all, thank you very much. Thank you very much to Ionix or Ironics, however you want to call it. Well, yes, quarters, yes, for the 170. I appreciate it. I agree. I think it's. How do you even word it? It just felt like all of a sudden, like I said, it was no longer my heart talking. It started to feel a little bit more like it was my head talking. There was a big opportunity for us to push on. And like you say, we were much the better side in that first half. I think there were conversations at halftime. The live chat, we were talking on the watch along, and someone was asking, like, do we need to change things? What's it going to change? And I was hearing commentators talking about changes and stuff. But realistically, if anyone was going to change things at halftime, it was Sevilla. We'd put them in that position. Now, they put themselves in that position to some extent as well. Don't get me wrong. They were sitting deep. They were holding true. They wanted to just deal with it. They wanted to just be like, right, like you say, they were probably happy to come away with this quite happy 0-0. And there were very few times where their midfield three would go beyond the ball. A lot of the time, their midfield three was sitting deep. They were very happy to just go, do you know what? The front line will try. We're not going to overcommit. There are a lot of times where if there wasn't a really easy pass on, they would turn and go backwards.
Yeah.
The people getting the goal at that exact moment completely changes the dynamic of the second half for a lot of reasons. But it means that they had to do something if they wanted to. And I think part of the problem with Sevilla potentially is that they didn't do that for long enough. I don't think they really changed up, because I'll be honest, I was just going to say, because that second half, we come out before we get the goal, and I think the second half, obviously before the goal, because it didn't come in the second half, but you know what I mean. I think we were the better side again. To be honest, there were periods where they were there, but I thought by and large it was us.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I have to give credit massively to Moyes this evening, because I remember I was speaking the other day on another West Ham channel. He couldn't line up with the same sort of 4-2-3-1 that he likes to line up with. He had to make some sort of a change, and having a midfield three to try to combat their midfield three. And like, let's talk about this legitimately for a second. This is Ivan Rakitic, who is not past his best, former serial Champions League winner, like La Liga winner with Barcelona. This is Thomas Delaney, who is, was at Dortmund a couple of years ago. The other fella that they had in there, for the life of me, I can't remember. Joan Jordan, whatever he's called. Johan Jordan. I'm sure he's Jordan doing it. But Torres, when he came on, and it made it really difficult for them to break down. I think that's why we saw they were passing and happy to pass, because they were waiting for those gaps to open up, and they just didn't open up. So tactically, I think Moyes got that absolutely spot on today. And I mean, Lanzini was on a yellow card for what?
A significant chunk of the game.
110 minutes. It was a long time. So to do as much as we did, and the intensity, the energy level, just unbelievable tactical display from Moyes again this evening. So just
at full time, that second half in general. At the end of it, we're going into extra time. Moyes is not the most active when it comes to subs. They're freshening it up quite a lot. They were, like I say, I think we were much the better side in that second half, but can't act like there weren't opportunities for them to get in and around and do stuff. Was there, going into extra time, out of 10, let's say, where were your belief levels at?
Do you know what? When we had a corner, didn't we, in the 91st minute, and I thought it's scripted that's just Craig Dawson's going to leap like a salmon. He's going to come in. Kurt Zuma's running. He's picking his cat up and he's booting it again. Like it was written in the stars for something to happen at that corner, but it didn't. But you could see in the last 10 minutes, I think, of the match, the momentum of the game again had completely shifted. They were at 6s and 7s at the back, and we just even like our passing this evening, it was just like at the weekend we could have said, right, Benrahma, when he played against Villa, he had 2 assists, but he wasn't very good during the game, and a lot of the passes were going astray. Tonight there was some crisp triangles, just lovely play from the boys. It was just beautiful. But I just never at any point did I feel they were posing a massive threat. Like, I know it sounds weird. This is the 6-time champions of this competition, that's second in La Liga. I didn't think that they posed us anything. I felt so in control. Maybe that's again just the claret and blue, and it's the West Ham in me. It felt like that, but it genuinely felt like we were just in control of the tie, and they were not posing us any problems whatsoever. So actually, when it went into injury time, I was screaming at the telly for Vlasic. Rebecca was screaming for Mark Noble to come on, but I was looking for fresh legs in extra time, but he didn't. And it worked out the way that it worked out. I did shit myself when Diop came on, I can't lie, but yeah, I never did I feel.
Oh, ye of little faith, sir. Oh, ye of little faith. The quarterfinal draw is tomorrow afternoon at midday. I believe.
At the same time. I think
they do both at the same time.
I think they do.
Yes, it does. I've just seen it on the website. They do both at the same time. So there will be a live stream on this channel for it. I don't know when and I don't know who, but it will exist. And thank you very much, of course, to EatSwag for the 55 NOK, which I'm going to say
Norwegian kroner.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it's worth about £5,000. Oh,
okay. Sorry, no, $5 million.
Game changer. By that point, all doubt had gone from my mind. When the idea of like this was, I was talking from my heart. I was talking from heart. At that point, I was like, do you know what? Actually, we've been the better team, and I don't have. And I look, it could change. That, like I said, they were being more proactive with subs. They were making it happen. But realistically, I was like, I think we've got this. And then the first half of stoppage time, I think, went on to be the same. An incredible chance from Thomas Soucek. Almost what you said. Dawson rises up, heads it, and Thomas Soucek hits the side of the net. The crowd thought it was a goal for a second. There was a legitimate, but like in a massive way, not even a bit of a proper one. And I felt like that was emblematic of the entire first half of that stoppage time, where West Ham were completely and utterly on top of that game and were the more likely to score. It felt like at that point they were playing similarly to how we have been 2 years ago, where they were completely sat deep, just trying to hold on, and they were punting it long towards the likes of Rafa Mir, towards the like of En-Nesyri. We're looking for that counter attack, and outside of that, it was all West Ham who were just camped in half, just knocking on the door, trying to find that way in.
Yeah, it's crazy to see again. Like I know their fans will probably say, look, we've had injuries and everything else, but again, if you look across their squad, they've got players that we wanted to sign. Montiel, when he came on, was somebody that we'd looked to sign in, and I got half the bloody first team. It felt like we were trying to sign, like En-Nesyri, Jordan a few years ago, whatever. So these are quality players. They were taking quality off. Obviously, their squad depth is 10 times what ours is. They were taking quality off. They were bringing quality on. But again, I think it's just our pressure on the ball. We just wanted it more than them. At the end of the day, we just wanted it more than they did. And again, the crowd, I can't say enough for that. My brother, luckily enough, had the tickets tonight. I still have not forgiven him. He managed to pinch the tickets off my dad and took his mate instead of me. But he's texted me this evening and said that is the best atmosphere that he's ever been heard at London Stadium. It was unbelievable. And just to think that we now get that again for whoever we... And the thing is, and I know this sounds daft, there's something special brewing in this competition, and I do not fear the teams that are left. I genuinely... The fact that Bowen has to come back as well from injury, we get the international break, he gets a rest because he's not called up. All of a sudden, we're revitalised and we're ready to go. I imagine we're probably going to get brushed aside by Spurs at the weekend because everybody was absolutely knackered at full time. But that's because of the amount of effort that they put into it. They left it all out there on the pitch. Just an unbelievable game. Rice missing the next game. Did he get a yellow card tonight, Rice?
I can't remember. The commentator said something like that. Lanzini definitely misses the next game, and I think when Lanzini got it, Rice did. The commentator mentioned it. I don't know.
I'll have a look now, because if he does, then he misses the next game.
Yeah, I mean, realistically,
no, he didn't get a yellow card. He didn't get a yellow card.
Okay, we'll have to look into what the commentator said. Yeah, it's. I mean, I guess we'll get onto at the end how far we think we're going to go in this competition, because at this point, maybe all the way. But I think
I've just read the headline. This is the first time Sevilla have been beaten by an English opposition in a European competition ever.
Yeah, man. It's light work, innit? Light work. Like, Tom, it's light work, yeah. When you got people like Yarmolenko, a man like Yarmo, yeah, coming on, getting the goal, first touch, steaming in there. Now, again, 2 weeks. I said this on the watch long, right? A couple of weeks ago, you would never have found a West Ham fan who would have backed Yarmolenko. Like, they would have gone, look, he's good on the ball and everything else, but he's just not going to work ever in a West Ham side.
Can we just appreciate that, please? What I've just
we very much can,
guys. Look at it.
We very much can. We very much can.
The final 8, guys. The final 8.
I mean, you would never have found 2 weeks ago someone who would have backed Yarmolenko, right? Would have said nice things about him and his ability, but never going to happen at West Ham, never going to work. It's just not the thing. It's just not happening, okay? 2 weeks in a row, he's come on and scored now. But do you know what's maddest about it, Tom?
Yeah.
Even people who would have backed his ability, I'm a Yarmo defender. I like Yarmolenko. I wouldn't have said he would react fastest to something. That's just not a phrase I ever would have used. And when the ball comes in, Antonio, it wobbles a bit. It finds Lanzini. He passes it out to Fornals, cuts inside onto his right hand, onto his right foot, shoots, save. Yarmo reacts fastest to it, passes it into the net, and for a second game in a row, Andre Yarmolenko scores and puts West Ham through into the final 8, as you just said, of the Europa League.
Sam Martingale, don't talk like a roadman. Yeah, blood, I will talk like a roadman after tonight. We seriously, I apologise for that, Sam. I do. Don't dislike the video. I don't. I don't know. But listen, I've criticised him as pretty much most West Ham fans have over the last 2 years. I thought we had a serious player when he first joined us. I think people forget. Those first few games he played, was it 2 goals away at Everton? He scored against Man United, and that's a horrific injury to have to come back from. The talent is obviously always there. He always does it for the Ukraine when he plays for them. And as a wise man said a couple of weeks ago, I said this the other day, I was listening to Peach, and he said that...
the wisest man.
The wisest of men. And he said, you know, when he goes off and he plays for Ukraine, he pulls his heart out 110%. And now at the moment... he's playing for Ukraine. That's what it feels like. He's playing and he's putting his all and his effort in. When he sort of said after the game the other day, now I understand what the West Ham love feels like after a fin. It's a shame that it's taken 3 years for that to happen. But for me, he has this chip on his shoulder now that he wants to prove it for, you know, for the Ukrainian people. And it's what a week for him. What a week. Obviously, there will be people in the Ukraine, whether or not they can watch this evening, I don't know. But that would have meant a lot to them as well, obviously, to his family and everything else. And that's all we can ask for from him, is that when he does come on and he does play those minutes, if he can contribute as much as he physically can, and if that's with goals, if that's with energy, if that's with, you know, and the thing is, it wasn't just his goal this evening. His first touch, some of his ingenious play when he was sort of taking the time on the ball and then spreading the play out wide and stuff. That's the Yarmolenko I haven't seen since he had his injury the first time. So, and I know somebody called it earlier on in the chat and said it, you know, he only ever scores important goals. And once again, he's done it this evening, and fair play to him. I'm absolutely delighted for the guy. It's just brilliant.
Tom, we're through to the final 8. I don't quite know what to say about it.
Can we just one more time, just for the people,
just for the people,
just breathe this in, guys.
Just for the people, just have a gander.
Breathe.
Have a gander.
I don't know what Ali McCoist is doing over here on the right, but he's probably saying West Ham are massive. But that is the final 8.
Very quickly before we go on to individual performances and wrap this thing up. Who do you want? I want Barca.
Okay, yeah, I want Barca. But the thing is, we've got to beat any of these teams. We really want to win this thing. We've got to be able to beat these teams. Individually, I think the British media will want Rangers, as will our fans, because that will just be a bloodbath. Lyon, I don't know how well they're going this season. The only teams that I really fear, to be fair, Braga did an absolute job on Monaco, which was weird to see. We've already beaten these lot this year in the biggest competition of them all, so that doesn't worry me. It's Leipzig for me is the one that I worry about. If any team I think is going to give us a problem, I feel like it's Leipzig. I think from an easier perspective, obviously you would say Braga, but they went into Monaco's backyard, was it last week, and absolutely smashed them. So whoever you get at this stage, they deserve to be there for a reason. But I think we all want Barcelona. I think that's where our head's at. But yeah, it's Rangers game though would be for the British-Scottish divide. That would be one hell of an atmosphere.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. Any individual performances you want to pick out before we get on to man of the match and final thoughts? I'm struggling to remember anything at this point.
Well,
my brain is just gone.
I will say, as a whole, the entire team tonight, absolute stars. Just literally 1 through 11. Just some of the best performances I've seen in a long time in a West Ham shirt from all of them. Special mentions, I think Antonio has copped a lot of flack rightly in the last few weeks because his performances haven't been at their best. But tonight, just different class. Soucek, obviously, it was nice. Should have probably had a second. I thought Rice just did Declan Rice, although I was thinking of you when he twatted it over from 30 yards out. Areola, because he was, that save proved crucial, really, although didn't have a lot to do. But I think, again, it's really gone under the radar how good the Dawson and Zuma partnership has been in the last few weeks and months. It's just incredible. I mean, every single person that played out there wore their heart on their sleeve and was incredible. But I think for me, just because of how he's been in recent weeks, I think Antonio was excellent. I'm pretty sure none of us thought he would even last the full 90 if he was to play tonight, but to do 118 minutes or whatever it was, just superb.
Yeah, Areola, I want to give a shout out to. I thought he had a brilliant game. He barely did any. Here's the insane thing I'm going to say, Tom. Areola didn't have to do much today, but what he did do, he did fantastically. He stopped it well. The save that you called out earlier, I thought was absolutely brilliant.
His distribution was good as well.
Yeah, it was very good. I thought Areola was brilliant. I think Ben Johnson had a good game.
His end product needs to get better, but he was
I think that's true. But
he kept Martial quiet, which again, Martial when he played, he loves the game against us and always scores. So defensively, he's sound. He just needs to work a little bit, and I think that will come with time because he's only young still. But he kept Martial quiet, and that's all we really could ask for.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's difficult to pick out individual. It's a difficult question because obviously, like you say, practically everyone had a great performance. I don't think there isn't many people who sit there and go,
they were bad. Just the team in itself. I will say out of the two, I mean, again, who knew that Dawson would never have played Europa League football before? He just looks so at home. And even when he's passing it out the back, I still crap myself every time. And I probably shouldn't do because he's as calm as anything. But I thought him and Zuma tonight were an absolute just rock between the pair of them. I thought they were brilliant.
It's like a comment you'd make.
Prime blue passport Beckenbauer.
The boy. Yeah. And Antonio, I want to give a shout out to because if we're not doing our man of match now, I want to give a shout out to Antonio as well because, like you said, I think he had another very, very good game. I think we're starting to see signs of the best Antonio coming back. Not quite what he was when we first started doing the watch longs and it was a sunny day out in Norwich and it literally was, here comes Antonio and he's going to score 4 goals in a game. Like it's just not quite that, but certainly like unplayable today for Sevilla completely. Not man of match for me, but unplayable. Like just so good, man. And it's so useful to see because when you have games like that today, it doesn't piss me off so much that he's drifting out wide. When he's playing bad and he drifts out wide, it's useless. But when it's a game like today and he drifts out wide, then I'm more than okay with that. That's when it becomes. A big thing. Tom, man of the match, and then final thoughts as West Ham are into the final 8 of the Europa League, which I'm going to see maybe 3 more times.
Just quickly for the old time viewers of the channel who watched myself and Charlie in the early days of the watch-alongs. The vase, yes, it quite literally is a vase from IKEA. This is not the same vase. Rebecca smashed my other vase, and this is a new vase. This is vase 2.0 because she smashed the other one. Sorry, did you say? Did you say
man of the match and final thoughts?
Okay. Do you know? I think just based on recent weeks,
Vase with a late
Vase with the late winner. Do you know what? I'm gonna agree with Ian there. I can't. It is unfair for me to pick a man of the match because I thought every single one of them were just to a man incredible. The team, the club, the fans, everything about West Ham is football is the winner tonight. Football is the winner.
Wasn't it wild how even McManaman was going absolutely ham for West Ham by then? He was like, oh, when like
I was still waiting for when I played for Real Madrid. I was expecting that to come out at some point, but no. I think the BT guys, they all love it when the English teams do well in the competitions because it gives them something to cheer for. But I mean, Coley, but both of them were crying at full time. Noble was in tears. They were all in tears. It just, for me, I really can't pick a man of the match. I think it would be unfair. But every single one of them deserves the name up in lights tonight. They were incredible.
It's Yarmolenko. Like, don't get me wrong, I agree, but the man who got the goal,
Slavi Ukraine.
My man has scored an absolute. He's like a history maker. Sevilla have not been beaten by an English team in European competition before. Sevilla have lost like twice in like the last 5 years or whatever it stupidly is in Europa League in general. And it's Andrei Yarmolenko, the guy who gets the goal. West Ham are through, ladies and gentlemen, to the last 8 of the Europa League, the quarterfinals. The draw will be tomorrow. There will be a watch along on the channel. It will probably be me. I don't know though. I'll be honest with you. We didn't talk about it and plan it out because we weren't entirely certain it was going to happen. So we didn't actually have that conversation. But yeah,
I think it's tomorrow night. It's tomorrow at midday, isn't it? 12 o'clock because they got to do the Pony Conference League draw first.
Yes.
Yeah, no, not us big boys, not us high rollers in the last day of the Europa League. Oh my god,
absolutely bananas.
Oh, I tell you what, actually, we haven't mentioned tonight. I appreciated Ben Rama's defensive work ethic. I know James, is doing his review and stuff over on E20's own TV. Shout out to James. But I thought his defensive work rate this evening was a lot better. And even in the attacking third, he's just using his brain a bit more. More of the defensive work rate, I think, we'll see him consistently in the team. So much better performance from him tonight. Really pleased. I'm sure the Algerian fans who, when he first joined the club, were always in the comment section. David Moyes doesn't know what he's doing. He hates Ben Rama, blah, 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 blah. I think they'll all be proud of the performance that he put in tonight as well.
Earned his place tonight ahead of Lasic after the game against Aston Villa, and I think we'll be staying in the team for a hot minute. But yeah, special thank you to Rebecca, Madman, James, Dabs, Arthur, Ionix, and E Swag. Much appreciated, and thank you everyone for watching. Make sure if you haven't already to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification because we do match.
How many likes are we on? How many likes are we on right now?
We are currently on 184. So if everyone can get on that like train,
there's 700 of you in here. Let's try and get 300 likes before we close this video off.
Let me put it to you this way, people. All right, watch along. Yeah, we managed to get over 1,100 likes. So if we need to step on this now, people. We need to get on that. Okay, we need to absolutely blap it up. Bring it up, exactly. Bring it up, bro. Bring it up.
1 like is 1 good luck for the rest of the tournament. If you do not like this video, we will not progress. Into the
We've jumped instantly to 259, 278. There we go, people.
This is every single person in here now is being jinxed.
We're not leaving until we hit 300 people. We're not leaving until we hit 300.
Quickly, Richard Barlow, should Dawson play ahead of Maguire in the England squad at this present moment? Yes.
Yeah.
Embarrassingly good, Craig Dawson. Yes, 300 likes. Like I said, do not jinx us, people. It will be your fault if we do not progress. Like the video, you jinx us.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff. We'll see you for the stream tomorrow. And then, of course, for, I don't know, we're facing Tottenham or something in the weekend or so. I don't know.
Do you know what? We should really care about that game because it's such a key game for us to get into Europe. But I think after tonight, I really would not be bothered.
Why would we care about a Europa League conference team? Oh, wait, they're not even in that anymore. Thank you for watching, everyone. We will see you next time. Come on, you Irons. We've done quarterfinals. Quarterfinals. Come on.
Come on, the boys.
Come on, the boys.